Hi guys, Karen here. I just want to go over a couple things before I get started with the lesson. Remember, with our art lessons, everything that you do is a teaching moment. So when it comes to blending colors, teach it to them. Even if they know it or say that they already know it, show it to them again or ask them to show it to you. Um, Show them how to make circles, but instead of saying just go around, show them better ways. I'm going to do a couple of these with you so you have a better idea, but just remember that the lesson should be fun, they should be entertaining, they should be leaving with their project at the end of the day, they should be leaving going, I don't want to leave, and they should learn something, most importantly. Now we're going to do a lesson on William Thiebaud. The paperwork on the lesson plan that you have does explain about him, but just so you know, he is an American artist. He is actually still alive. He's in his 90s, I believe. He's very, very famous for cakes and lipsticks and cupcakes and donuts in very bright colors with lots of very well-defined shadowing. So you need to go over this about him. He does very feminine work, even though he's very male. He didn't let the fact that pink is a girly color stand in his way, or that purples are just very feminine. And if you use those colors, you're not as much of a man. But in all actuality, he sees color as color. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. The first thing that we need to do is make sure that you have a sheet of paper, and you're going to need some pastels. You should have boxes full of them, but that's mine. And a pencil. Every student should have a pencil. Now we're going to use thick cardstock kind of paper because we are going to be rubbing in the design, and we don't want our paper to tear, get holes, or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to turn the camera around, and so I'm going to pause for just a second. All right, so here we are. I've got us all set up. What we want to first do is turn this paper into 4 squares. Now, you can make this a square of squares like the sample has, or you can just simply have them draw an estimated central line going both ways. Now, some of the students are going to want a ruler. Let them. If they want to use a ruler, absolutely. If that makes them happy, remember, it's their art. Stress that it is their art. There's no wrong way to do art. There's no mistakes in art, only happy accidents. So we're going to go ahead and start with our drawing. When it comes to circles, they're very difficult to do. We have a natural lean to our hand. So what I usually recommend that they do is start by drawing the circle shape with their whole arm. Go round and round and round, but notice I'm not drawing yet. I want to keep going around till I get an imaginary circle going. And then I'm going to drop my pencil. And I'm going to draw it a few times. And you see how I have a pretty decent little circle just by overlapping lines. Eventually they will create a circle. And then I'm going to do a center one in the middle. We're going to do it again here. But I want my donuts different. So this one's a little bit larger. I turn my paper around. I think I'm going to do a kind of a wonky one here. I think that one needs to be kind of like a cake donut, maybe. And then let's really do a cake donut by doing a circle and a teardrop. It's kind of like a flower. You don't have to do this. This is more for your advanced students. But this is kind of a cruller, I guess you could say. So that's the very basic donut shapes. Now let's ice them. Now that's going to be a wonky line. You don't want the same curves. You don't want like a wave like that. It's too predictable. They don't have those kind of, icing doesn't flow that way. Granted, I know these are not realistic drawings, but come on. We want a little bit of different lining going on. Okay. So, now I've got my food on there. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. All right. So, now you can Sharpie it. Have them Sharpie it. Tell them that this is a choo-choo train. Your pencil lines are the tracks. Keep your train on the tracks. I'm going to pause the video while I outline. Alright, so there is an outline picture. And it's time to add some details. You can add sprinkles. It doesn't necessarily have to be realistic, so you can stripe it. You can do anything you want. You can also do anything you want on the backgrounds. So if they want to polka dot the background, they can. Now, I just did that without taking the opportunity to make it into a teaching moment. Do you see how I have a line dividing? And I have a circle here. Did I draw the whole circle? No, because the line is cutting it off. It's almost like this square is covering up this square or rectangle. So just because you can't see the other half of that circle doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that it's not in this picture. It doesn't fit in. So if you show them, like what I usually do is I'll have one of the students stand up and I put another student in front of them. And I ask, is that person gone? And they say no. And it says, and it's mainly because just because you can't see that they're there behind the person in front of them doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means that you can't see them. They're being shielded. So okay. Now I don't want to take too much time because it takes forever to load these videos. So let's go ahead and get this filled in. Now in the paperwork that the lesson plans, it does recommend that you can outline these with oil pastel. That makes like a little oily barrier for your colors. So that is a really cool thing to do. You don't have to because you did do your black outlines. So totally up to you. All right, take a look at my colors. Notice they're cracked up and stuff. That's not a bad thing. They're going to crack up anyway. They're a powder substance held together by a binder. Well, this binder is not like concrete or glass. It breaks. So subtle movements and drops can break them. That doesn't mean fuss at the child if it breaks in their hand or anything like that. It just means it's okay. They break. No big deal. Don't stress it. All right, we're going to use chalk pastels to fill this in. You can lay it flat if it's a large area to cover, or you can color it in on the edge. Please let the kids know if they make a lot of dust, they're pushing too hard. You don't have to fill in every single bit of this area. Now you don't want to do this because that's not going to cover much. You still want it to cover, but the filling in every single teeny tiny bit is not necessary. Now when it comes to blending, you can do multiple colors at one time. You can add any color that is next to the other color on the color wheel and have a really pretty look. So take a look at this. I just used this color, and on a color wheel you have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, right? Now if you draw lines crossing, these are bad to blend in together. So red and green, purple and yellow, and blue and orange equal brown. All right, so if you do any of these together, they will create brown. Not a good thing. Now, I say that. It can be a good thing, but for the most part, it's not a good color combination. Now, any color to the side of the color that you're working with is a great complement. So right now I have a green, so I can use yellow or blue in with that, and it would make a pretty color. So I'm going to take some blue and do that. Now I can use my finger. I can use Q-tips. I can use a napkin wrapped up in my finger, around my finger, whatever you want. And I'm going to rub in lightest color first and work my way to the darker color. So do you see how that blended? Really pretty. You don't even have to look like you know what you're doing. It's kind of cool. All right, so if you want to add a color for a little extra oomph, now's the time before you blend it. All right, and then you're just going to fill it in. Now don't blend that color where you don't want it. So I'm not going to be silly and rub blue and green all over my picture because I can't take it off. Once it's on, it's on. Now you can sometimes use an eraser and get mild bits off of where you don't want it to go, but if you have a big old chunk of it, you can't. You can't do anything about it. All right, don't forget inside of your donuts, that's what really makes them look like a donut and not a flower. All right. All right, so now you got your dirty finger. Well, that finger is now my green finger. I will have a yellow finger, a red finger, blue finger. You have 10 fingers to blend with. So they don't need to go up and wash your hands each time because you don't want them to. You want to keep these dry. They're not going to blend well if you don't. So I'm going to finish coloring in. Now I'm going to rush this just for the sake of the video. I want you to take your time showing them and helping them. Remember, never do the work for them. Show them on separate paper, but don't do the work for them. All right, so we're going to go all the way around. And now I'm going to use my yellow finger and do each petal separately. Now you can do on top of this, so like if I wanted to add additional details with another color, I could. And I would just rub it in. All right, we're going to pretend that all of this has been done. The last thing you want to do is take a charcoal or a black, and on one side have them pick either the right side, left side, top, or bottom. Doesn't matter, but pick one. And on every single picture, you want to do this. I'm going to pick the right side. So anywhere I have a right side showing, I want to do a shadow. Now this is where a Q-tip is really helpful because it's fine spots. So you're going to dig that in. Dig it down in, press it down. The reason you have to blend in pastels is because they're just sitting on top of your paper and you need to push them down in so they stay. Now, if mom and dad really love this picture and they want to keep it forever, tell them to go buy the cheapest aerosol hairspray they can find, usually like Aquanet or White Rain, and have them hold the spray really far away and gently spray back and forth all the way. Do it about 3 times, letting it dry between each layer, and that will fix the pastels down to the paper. So there is the first donut shadowed. Did you see how simple that was? All right, I'm not going to do the rest. I think you understand what we want to do. Feel free to pick up donut holes on your way in tonight as an added bonus for the kids. It always is popular. All right, give me a call or text me if you have any questions, and good luck tonight.